let's work on this problem. Today we're going to work on the two sum problem. So the purpose of this session is basically I want to give myself opportunity to explain the solution and then spot any mistakes. And the idea is that these kinds of session keep me in check, so I stick to these routines, so that's good for explaining my thought process and continue to improve my ability there. Anyways, so today we are given an array of integers. So let's go over the problem quickly because that's the first step. Whenever you're doing a problem, you have to restate the problem first, and then of course we're gonna go over the brute force solution, then the optimized solution to see if the optimization is possible, and in the end complexity analysis, right? But as you can see, I don't have the whiteboard open in front of me. Why is that? Why? It's because I want to be able to verbally explain this, right? So and I want to keep it as natural as possible and as genuine as possible, because often what happens is that we're copying somebody, or we're copying a style that we have not really made our own. What do I mean by that? We haven't made something our own. Well, we haven't practiced that to the extent where it feels natural. So I'm back and let's talk about it further. So we are given an array, as I can see, and then we have a target, and now we have to find two numbers that sum up to this target, right? Now there are two ways to do it, of course. The first one being that you can try to generate as many combinations as possible, basically generate all the combinations and try to sum up those numbers and see how many of those are actually equal to target, right? But this approach is not really efficient, and it can amount to n to the power of 2 in the worst case, and this is not really a good solution. So what else we can do? Well, we have a realization here that whenever we're going through the array, at that instance, for every instance, for every item in the array, uh, x, what we're looking for is a target minus x. Why is that? Because that tells us that okay, we got x and now we are just looking for the rest, right? So and we wanna say, we wanna make sure this is not this is a number that we have already seen, because if we already have seen that number and then we got x, then both of these are two different numbers and we can add those up, right? And then that would amount to target. So that's what we're looking for. So basically it's well, indirect way of saying that we're looking for numbers instead of just checking that whether two numbers sum up to target. We are like flipping the script and we're saying, okay, what would I need for this number to add up to target, right? So that is like the basic question we are asking: what would I need for this number to add up to target? Well, we get that by subtracting, the number from target, because that leaves us with the number that we should have, and then we check whether we have seen that number or not. If we have seen it, then that means we found the last and the first of those pairs, and now we can return that as an answer. So